and I have been warmly pleased by your letters. You have shown the courage and the self-love to not only listen to this audio program, but to stick with its teachings through those periods of change which I know are sometimes difficult. For your courage and your ongoing success, I offer you my thanks and my congratulations. Bob Trask, Bellevue, Washington, January 1987. Chapter 1. Feelings. When I was a kid, the world was a wonder to me. I knelt in the wet grass, watching the colors of light shining through dewdrops. I lay on grassy hillsides, watching clouds blow across blue skies. Sometimes a red-tailed hawk did lazy circles above me. My fascination was physical as well as mental. I felt my whole body thrilling and discovered a kind of mystical connection between myself and the wind that carried the hawk and clouds. Rivers and oceans are like the wind, turning, flowing, breathing, living. All living things are in motion. The crashing surf along the coast and the towering thunderclouds over the desert rim fascinate and thrill me because they echo and reflect the life moving within me. Things I feel most important to communicate are things I cannot communicate with words. They are larger than our language. They are the feelings of urgency and feelings of delight. When I was 7 or 8 years old, I loved marbles. My marbles were my personal friends. I had tiny purees of red and blue and green that we called peewees. Even as I'm telling you this, I am remembering the way the light came through them, pouring their colors into me, transforming me, opening me up like a parachute and making me sing inside. Other marbles, not as tiny as peewees, were normal shooting marbles. They were made of agate or glass that looked like agate. They were breathtaking reds, yellows, whites, and blues all splashed together. They touched a part of me until I felt myself melting and at the same time singing. I remember hearing somewhere that when Handel wrote the Hallelujah chorus, he wrote without a piano just as he heard it in his head, and that he was weeping for sheer joy at what he was hearing. Strange as it may seem, that is how a sack of marbles can make me feel. When I was on an ambulance crew in San Francisco, I once picked up a Chinese woman who had tried to commit suicide. After we had been driving around for about an hour from hospital to hospital, trying to get someone to take her, we realized no one wanted her because they were not equipped for suicidal patients. She was 45 years old but looked like she was 13. Her skin was flawless. She had a childlike simplicity and beauty. Every time I asked her why she wanted to die, what her problems could be that she would not want to live, she would look at me and scream, "Liar!" When I finally left her in the San Francisco General Hospital emergency room, she was tied to her gurney, looking after me as I walked away. With hatred in her eyes, she was screaming, "Liar! Liar!" I think now I recognized the lie she had caught me in. She was calling all of us important adult persons of the world liars. She could see that we had lost the truth. The world is made of beauty and simplicity. The patterns of light and love everywhere around us are visible and tangible only to children. When we forget that we are children, we forget that everything we need for a full, harmonious life is supplied. Then we begin to manipulate the world around us, making up tricks and methods and techniques to force the world around us into giving us things that we do not deserve. When I say deserve, I do not mean earn. Children do not earn their beauty and their laughter and their happiness, but they deserve it because they are still perfect, pure creatures of a perfect, pure universe. Only when we grow older and become frightened by our guilt do we begin to mistrust the world around us and lose our innocence and understanding, the keys to happiness. The other day I heard an old Perry Como song in which he sings of childhood. Once you leave its borders, you may never return again. I'm betting that we can return again. What it will take for each of us is courage. We can share our journey back to that holy place with others, but we must each have the solitary courage to propel ourselves. It is my opinion that if we don't return, we must give up the world with all of its kites and marbles and clouds and hawks and children, because they will remain outside our scope of appreciation and are thereby things that we do not deserve. How do you feel about that? Do you want to recapture that kind of joy and glow of childhood? Or are you so busily working on trying to be an adult that you have forgotten adulthood is only a game, a charade?